Wolf Messing, the man once called the prophet of the 20th century, stood at the threshold between science and the mystical unknown. He could read thoughts, foresee events, and bend human will. Yet what terrified him most was not the minds of men, but the silence of the afterlife. Some doors, he warned, are not meant to be opened. Behind these words was not superstition, but the certainty of someone who had looked too far. He sensed an invisible border, thin as breath, heavy as eternity, that separated our world from what lies beyond. But what did Messing truly see? And why did he fear revealing the full truth? Wolf Messing was not born into greatness. As a boy in Poland, frail and poor, he often wandered the streets lost in thought. But even then, strange incidents marked him. Once, escaping a train conductor with no ticket, he picked up a scrap of paper, focused his will, and handed it over. The conductor stamped it as if it were valid. That was the moment Messing discovered his gift. Suggestion through pure mental force. It was not magic in the stage sense, but something raw, primal, and unsettling, as if reality itself bent before his concentrated thought. Soon, whispers spread. He could see things hidden from others. His reputation grew, from market tricks to seances, and eventually into halls of power. But with each new revelation came a price. Messing's talents were celebrated, but he often spoke of them as a curse. "You cannot imagine what you envy," he told admirers. "This is worse than forced labor. You can escape a prison, but not your own mind." At times, the images he saw overwhelmed him. People came begging, "Where is my son? Will my husband return from war? Is my future bright?" Messing knew that truth, once spoken, could destroy. Often he lied, offering hope when his vision showed only despair. Yet in his private notebooks, Messing returned to one theme: the survival of consciousness after death. He had felt presences, heard voices, seen the invisible, but he also warned, contact with the dead is dangerous. He knew too well that curiosity could unravel a soul. One performance made the crowd freeze in silence. A spectator asked about his parents. After a pause, Messing replied, "Your mother is here in this room. Your father fell in the war." Later, he found the man privately and whispered, "Your father asked for peace. He wants you to find his grave." He named a remote village. When the man traveled there, he discovered his father's name carved into a mass grave. Coincidence? Trick? Or a glimpse through that fragile veil? To Messing, it was proof that death is not an end, but a transformation, a crossing. Still, he insisted, the world of the dead is not for the curious. Messing's era was not only one of mystics, but of science. Einstein, Freud, and Bohr all grappled with mysteries of mind and matter. Quantum physics suggested that reality itself is not fixed, but shaped by observation. Here lies a strange parallel. Messing's mental influence resembled the observer effect in physics. Could human consciousness alter the probabilities of reality? Was a suggestion not magic, but an unconscious tapping into quantum fields? At the same time, his warnings echoed ancient wisdom. In Hindu philosophy, the veil of Maya conceals higher planes. In Kabbalah, the world of the living is but one of many dimensions. Messing's visions fit into a global pattern. Across cultures, seers touch something beyond, but always with danger attached. Why did Messing sometimes deceive? To protect others. During the war, when families begged for truth about missing loved ones, he would invent hopeful stories. Later he admitted, "Bad news can always wait. Hope gives strength. Despair kills." But deception weighed heavily. In diaries he confessed, "I sometimes see too much. I must hide it, even from those I love. Here lies a paradox. A man gifted with forbidden knowledge, yet bound to silence. His life illustrates a deep truth. Humanity may not be ready to face the full reality of existence. As a child, Messing believed in a strict, just God. But betrayal shook that faith. His father once staged a false heavenly messenger to push him toward rabbinical studies. Realized it was a trick, young Wolf felt abandoned by God. For years he rejected religion, but through his visions he came to believe again, not in a God of paintings and rituals, but in a cosmic intelligence beyond imagination. I do not believe in the pathetic images of God created by religions, he said. I simply know that he exists, but utterly unlike how he is depicted. This resonates with mystics and philosophers alike. God not as a figure, but as the ground of being, the infinite mind in which we exist. Messing once wrote with chilling precision, "In 54 years, 5 months, and 18 days, I will be gone, at 11 o'clock in the evening." And he was right. The night before his death, he refused visitors. "I must be alone," he said. "I have an important conversation." With whom? No one knows. The next morning he was pale, exhausted, as if life itself had drained away. Hours later, he slipped quietly beyond the veil. Among his papers was a final note. "Do not be afraid. We are not truly here. We exist in the mind of God. That is why no one ever dies. They live on in other realities, and we will all meet again." What, then, was Wolf Messing? A fraud? A prophet? A man whose inner eye pierced a hidden layer of reality? Perhaps he was all of these. But what matters is not the label, but the echo of his warnings. The afterlife is not an empty void. It is a continuation, a transformation, but it is not to be entered recklessly. Today, neuroscience explores consciousness, while quantum theory hints at multiple dimensions. Across mysticism and science, we return to the same haunting question: what happens after death? Messing's voice answers across time. Life is irreplaceable. Death is not the end. And beyond the veil we will meet again.